Let's get going. Beis Amid Beis. Beis Amid Beis. Baruch atah Adonai Yelinu melech elon shakol and he have the right. Okay, so we had a Mishnah. Mishnah Machlokes. Shalom Rav David. Please. No, that's not on purpose. The sweat is not like we're not enjoying it. The Mishnah the Machlokes. What is the story with the sukkah above 20? Tanakama said it's no good. Rav Yehuda said it's yes good. Hopefully by now this should start making sense to everyone. We have three reasons as to why this is true. Whether it's the Sukkah Litzel, that's L'Shalta Be'ena, whether it's you have to sit the Sukkah Litzel Yoimam, whether you have to sit in the shade of the Succah and not the shade of the walls. And number three is whether it has to be Arai. We then had three ways in which the Gemara, that they said over in the name of Rav Yeshaya, Rav Huna, and Rav Chanan Barav, three different ways in which they said three cases. Let's review those cases outside one more time. Rav Yeshaya Marav, about 8 lines down in Beis Beis, taught us that if the walls reach the schach, everyone will agree it's kosher. The Gemara explained what's the reason. It must have gone with the Rabbah. It's your eye doesn't see it. Lo shalta ba'ina. But if the walls go all the way up to the schach, then your eye follows it up. That was din number one of Yeshaya. Then Rav Huna and Rav Chanan Barav both gave qualifications in the size. So we have three different statements from Rav. We have Rav Yeshaya, who said a din about the walls reaching the schach. We have Rav Huna and Rav Chanan Barav that said qualifications in the size, whether it's dalid by dalid, whether it's 7 by 7, that it holds Rosh Rubai and Rosh Rubai and Shulchani. Based off of that, the Gemara said, and that's where I would like to pick it up one more time. Bishlama. We are smack in the middle. First word in the line is Kshera. Bishlama. Everyone's with me? Bishlama de Rav Yeshaya, Pliga de Rav Huna Rav Chanan Barabba. I understand that Rav Yeshaya disagrees with Rav Huna Rav Chanan Barabba. Why? De'enu kayav yeshura b'mishcha, because they are giving qualifications in the size of the sukkah. Apologies. V'ihu, and he, Rav Yeshaya, like kayav shira b'mishcha. He's now limiting the size of the sukkah. He's saying more of a case in the walls. He's qualifying it more that the walls reach the schach. So that's fine. Rav Yeshaya is entitled. The question is, and I don't know if you listened to the Chazar today, I think it got one job clear on the Chazar, and hopefully you got one more job clear right now. The question is, Ella, Rav Huna, V'Rav Chanan Barabba. So they're arguing, what do they say? They said that the din of the Mishnah is only if it's not Dalid al Dalid. If it's bigger than Dalid al Dalid, everyone agrees, then what? It's going to be kosher. That's how Rav Huna said it. Or whether it's 7 by 7, then everyone agrees, said Rav Chanan Barabba, that it's going to work. Says the Gemara, maybe Rav Huna and Rav Chanan Barabba are having a sidebar machlekes. Maybe their machlekes doesn't fit over here. Maybe it has nothing to do with our Mishnah about a sukkah being more than 20. Maybe their machlekes is an isolated machlekes. What's the minimum size of a sukkah? So we don't know. So the truth is the Gemara is going to get this in Daf Gimel. But suggests the Gemara, maybe what Rav Huna and Rav Chanan Barav are really bothered by is not where is the machlokes Rav Yehuda and the Chachamim, the size, the height of your sukkah being 20. No, much simpler. Maybe they have a fundamental debate into what is the minimum size of the sukkah. Says the Gemara, Ella, Rav Huna, Rav Chanan Barabba, Nema, let us suggest Behechsher Sukkah Kamifliki, that they're having a sidebar machlokes as to what is the minimum size of a sukkah. Demar Savar Hechsher Sukkah Bar Ba'amois Rav Huna, Umar Savar Chanan Barav holds Hechsher Sukkah B'machzekes Rosh Ruba B'Shulchani. So says the Gemara, let's make things very simple. We had a statement of Rav Huna. We had a statement of Chanan Barav. And we thought they were qualifying the din in our Mishnah. Why do we say that? Let's make it very easy. They're arguing very, very simply, what is the minimum size of the sukkah? Is that clear? It's really a very simple question. Now, how it fits into their words, it's a little more complicated. Let's try not to think about that. But I don't think it's bothering anyone, so let's not make any issues. But the Gemara is asking, maybe they're having an almost off-the-page machlekes, that this debate has nothing to do with our Mishnah, they're arguing with the minimum size of a sukkah. Answers the Gemara, loy. No, it's not what they're arguing about. The Kuli Alba, everyone agrees that what's the minimum size of a sukkah? Achshir sukkah is what? Roishay Ruba Vishalchane. Everyone agrees. Which, by the way, is going to be the next sugya in Daf Gimel. The Gemara is going to discuss different opinions. What's the minimum size of the sukkah? So the Gemara here is saying both Rav Huna and Rachanan bar Rabba agree. Rachanan bar Rabba agrees. Minimum size of sukkah. Let's just call it 7 by 7 tfachim, which is what the Gemara is going to say. Very simple. So what are they arguing about? Says the Gemara. They're arguing about what they said. You know what they're arguing about? Tamar Savar. Rav Huna holds. Excuse me. Rav Chanan bar Rav holds. B'machzekes Rosh Aruba v'Shalchane Pligi. That's where there's a machlekes in the Mishnah. Avol Yoiser me Rosh Aruba v'Shalchane Tiver Kol Kshira. That's Rav Chanan bar Rav holds. Umar Savar and Rav Huna holds me Rosh Aruba v'Shalchane ad Dalet Amais Pligi. The machlekes in the Mishnah is when it's at the minimum size until 4. Once you're at 4, Avol Yoiser me Dalet Amais Divrei HaKol Kshira. Divrei HaKol what? Divrei HaKol Rav Yehuda and the Chachamim. Divrei HaKol, if it's taller than 20, it's going to be kosher. End of Gemara. Nice and simple. So let's speak it out outside, because I do believe that this should not be so complicated. Let's just, again, hopefully we're not beating a dead horse. If this is perfectly clear, then I'm doing this for myself. Yeah, we're beating a dead horse. I know. It's a hard Gemara. No, refuse is a hard Gemara. It's a hard Gemara. He's being nice to me. It's okay. See, this is why I like giving shirts on camera. You know what I'm saying? They understand, they go. They don't understand, don't finish, fight. Or maybe I'll get an angry email. The angry emails have stopped. Those people stop listening to me, and fight, they're finished. But let's go. It is a little bit complicated. We had 3 statements. Let's split the 3 statements into 2. Rav Yeshaya, Rav Huna, and Rav Chanan bar Rav. Rav Yeshaya held what? The din in our Mishnah. What's the din in our Mishnah? Din in our Mishnah is what is the maximum height of our sukkah. Tanakama said 20 amos. Rav Yehuda said it could be more than 20 amos. It's so far so clear. If it's not, I'll say it again. Clear? Again, one more time. The Mishnah said height of the sukkah. Chachamim until 20. Rav Yehuda, as much as you want. Rav Yeshaya modified that din. We already know that Rav Yeshaya is going with the Rabbah. What did Rabbah hold? And what is the reason it can only be 20? Lo sholta be'enu, your eye doesn't see so tall. Says Rav Yeshaya, a novel idea. Your eye doesn't see so tall, right? Oh, okay. But if the wall goes all the way up, then us curious people, when I see here, I go, schach, kosher. That's a Rav Yeshaya modified the Mishnah. Does Rav Yeshaya have to say anything else? No. Does it make sense why Rav Yeshaya doesn't hold the Rav Huna? Yeah, of course, because he's saying that the din of the Mishnah applies only when the walls don't reach the schach. Because the whole reason for the Mishnah he's saying is with Rabbah, and if the walls reach the schach, then it's good. So Rav Yeshaya, beautiful, check plus, go home and have supper. Rav Huna and Rav Chanan bar Rav, they came along and they had a different idea. They said that this din of the Mishnah only applies if it's either less than Dalet Amos, Rav Huna, less than 7 by 7 Tvachim, Rav Chanan bar Rav. Says the Gemara, why is this machlokes 4 by 4 Amos, 7 by 7 Tvachim? Why is this necessarily relevant to our Mishnah? Why is this have anything to do with the height of the sukkah? So we know a little bit. We already spoke of the idea, because when it's very big, you could get shade even from very tall. I understand that. But the Gemara is bothered that why don't we just make this very simple? Say, you know what their machlokes is? They're arguing as to the minimum size of the sukkah. And what's the answer? Rav Huna says 4 by 4 amos. Rav Chanan bar Rav says 7 by 7 tvachim. That was the Gemara's question.
The Havamina is when they're arguing whether it's 7 tvachim or
good.
Or Dalet Amos,
good.
But the walls don't reach the schach.
They're not weighing in on the walls reaching the schach. That's Rav Yeshaya.
So now Havamina, what are they arguing about?
Good. So the Gemara is asking, maybe they're just arguing about what's the minimum size of a sukkah. And what they're saying has nothing to do with our Mishnah. Our Mishnah is the height of the Sukkah. Maybe Rav Huna and Rav Chanan bar Rav, you know what they're arguing about? Shalom Aleichem, what's the minimum dimensions of your Sukkah?
What was the Havamina?
Oh, why do we think it had to do with our Mishnah? Very good. Because when they said their din, and that's why I said don't think too much about the words, because it's a little bit difficult. Because when they said their din, they said the din in the Mishnah only applies if it's less than 4 by 4, less than 7 by 7. So the Gemara is taking the leap of faith, and the Gemara is saying, 1 second, maybe that's what they said. What they really mean deep down is that they're just arguing as the minimum size of the Sukkah. It's true. The Havamina is a little bit complicated. It's a better question than the answer I'm giving you, and let's for the sake of simplicity, leave that. That's a good question. So now, that's Gemara's question. Clear question, beautiful question. Answers the Gemara really what you just said. No. Why are you making them have a mountain of a machlekes? They came along, and they learned a Mishnah. A Mishnah about 20 amos. They said, oh, you know what? I want to tell you a detail in the Mishnah. Like you just said, is this din of being 20 amos, is it only 4 by 4, is it only 7 by 7, etc.? And they said, why are you making us having the world's biggest machlekes as to the minimum size of the sukkah? We both agree the minimum size of a sukkah is a regular 7 by 7. We're not arguing about that. We're just arguing if there comes a point that when it's going to be more than 20, everyone will agree, which was the Havamina. So now, why did the Gemara fall off the Havamina? So this is, fundamentally, there's always different ways Gemaras like to make machlekes. Sometimes it's easier to make the machlekes. It's fair. I don't know. This bothers me. This bothers me because the truth is, the Gemara's teretz makes a lot more sense because we never like to make machlekes in very big. We always like to make machlekes in very small. So why we want to have them arguing in fundamentally how big? And I looked around. I could not get a good shot on this question that you're asking. That from the Havamina to the question to the Maskana, what exactly changed? What exactly changed? I went back to all the good Daf Yomi Magid Yishurim, and no one helped me. No one helped me. I was thinking listening to myself, but I definitely didn't speak about this. I definitely flew right through it. And yeah, it's a good question. What was the Havamina? But again, let's if we appreciate the steps, then it's okay leaving off a kasha. That's what my brain has right now. Right now, at least I have the steps. And there's one detail that's weird, is that why do we think A, go to B, and then go to C? But Lamais, the progression is simple. Good, let's speak to that one more time. Progression was, they said a din that the din of the Mishnah. Rishus, are you with me?
Oh, yeah.
Gavaldik. We said a din in the Mishnah that it's only if it's above 20. Machlekes Rav Yehuda and Tanakama. Vilna Chamim. Rav Yishaya says it has to do with the walls, which is Succah. Very good, leave him on the side. Rav Huna and Rav Chanan bar Rav said, no. It has to do with, is it more than 4 by 4, more than 7 by 7? The Gemara suggests maybe they're arguing off the table. The Gemara says, no, they're arguing on the table. End of Gemara. The detail that you're bringing up in what was the Havamina, how did that switch, and how did it come back? It's a very good question. If anyone has clarity, I went through ArtSchool, I went through Masifta, I went through Shirley Bornstein, I went through, what's his name, Daf HaChaim and his charts. His charts just skipped right over. It's okay, I probably did the same thing in my Daf Yomi show. But anyways, weiter. If you didn't know, any clarity? It's a shtickle shvar. No, it's a shtickle shvar. It's a shtickle shvar. Okay, very good. Now, that was the hard part. But again, Ravari, you have it clear now. What's clear is clear. I think they say from the Brisker Rav. That's what my Rebbeim always said. If you know what's shver, then it's allowed to be shver. As long as you know what's shver. Then sometimes it's just like, let's be honest. I think yesterday a lot of us walked away from the Gemara saying, oh, that was interesting, and let's move on. But I think now at least we know the steps. We know there's something here that's not clear, and that's okay. I mean, I think it's okay. That's my opinion. Maybe it's because I have nothing better to say. But let's continue. Where are we holding on time? 8:16. Beautiful. What time is Ma'ariv? 22? Mincha. 21. Perfect. Okay, let's go a drop further. One drop further. Says the Gemara. Meisvei. Kasha. We're going to start a kasha. We're not going to finish it. Sukkah she gavaya l'mal me'esamama. This is the din in our Mishnah we've been speaking about the whole week. Sukkah that's more than 20 amos, psula is possible. That's the Chachamim. Rav Yehuda, machshir. But the Brisa adds in a caveat. Ad araba'im v'chamishim amma. Interesting. It's kosher more than 20, but only until 40 and 50 amos. End of Brisa. Amar Rav Yehuda, says Rav Yehuda. Oh, good. What's bothering you? 40 or 50. 40. Which one? Is it 40 or 50, Rabbi? You could either. No, 40. That is a good question. Often Gemaras ask that kasha. Here, I don't know if it's a discussed Sometimes it just means
Exaggeration.
right, but here it can't be. That's the problem. Right, that's what I was going to say also. Sometimes it just means an exaggeration, even this, but here it's an odd. So it's funny. Yeah, it's a good. I think.
Kasha is more 50. Once you know 50, you don't say 40.
Right. That's what he's asking. What? He's saying 50 amos is big. It's about 100 feet, 75 feet. So Taisus over here gets involved.
Depends how high you can see up. You know, how high you can see up.
I know, but just funny. Tell me, is it 40 or 50?
100 feet is very tall.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it a lot harder to see the stars.
Correct. Oh, also it's hard to see the stars. That's interesting. Taisus deals with it. Taisus starts bringing down the Kol Atar Kula that has similar issues. And, okay. Says the Gemara, good kasha. Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Yehuda, Maisa behilni amalki. Now this is interesting. Apparently, and I didn't know this, but once I was listening to Rasuli Bornstein, I couldn't stop. Apparently, Rav Yehuda, all over Shas, brings maisas. Apparently. It's one of those things maybe we should know. Apparently, he's the guy who brings maisas. Maybe now we'll keep our eyes more open. He says, let's tell a story with Hilni Amalka Be'elud. We're just going to start the story, and then we're going to stop for Succah Chazara. Shaisa Sukkah Gavayin Meser Mama. She was in a Sukkah more than 20 amos. Vayezekenim, and the elders, the Chachamim, Nechnasim, V'yotzim L'sham. They were going in and out. Nechnasim, they were entering V'yotzim. They were leaving L'sham to there. V'loy Amru La Davar. And they didn't tell her anything. Period. So what do we think? We think that we see a sukkah more than 20 amos, and seemingly it's kosher, a raya to Rabbi Yehuda. We're going to stop over here. The Gemara is going to elaborate, figuring out what is the raya, how is the raya, what's going on. But let's get a few minutes to reread over this previous Gemara, which hopefully by now is time 2, 3, 4, and 5. Get it clear what's clear, and b'siyata d'shmaya. Yeah.
Recording stop.
Yeah.
Between 40 and 50
Mm-hmm.
is kosher.
Good.
I'm saying maybe 20 is kosher. Maybe it's not. You said 40 and 50.
Good. This is what we're going to pick up for tomorrow. Very good. Meaning, we started off, very good. We started with a Braisa. Sukkah more than 20, Pasul. Rav Yehuda says kosher until 40 or 50. Story with Hilni Amalka with a sukkah larger than 20. We don't know anything more than that. And the Zakenim ate there, they didn't say anything. So we have to see, what does that mean? How big was it? That's what you're asking. Was it 30? Was it 40? Was it 50? Was it 60? Okay, let's come back. We'll pick up on this point.
It's going to be like 45.
Pick up on this point. Pick up on this point.
It's like a big thing. No one's building a sukkah 100 feet tall.
Belzer Sukkah is massive.
It's not maybe big, but not tall.
So the Waldorf, this was a big hack. The Waldorf, anyway, the way they built the hotel in Eretz Yisrael is the whole lobby becomes their sukkah. They have a open, I think it's either it's always open or they open it for sukkahs, but it's who knows how tall. So, again, is this a chum right? I don't remember exactly, but I remember one thing is that they hang the schach. It's the coolest thing. Is they have poles with a whole frame and they hang the schach. I wonder if the reason was it would have been, way too high. It could also be that it was a technical issue because they had to make walls. So they made walls. It could be just easier to make walls lower down. You've got to make walls all the way from up there. That's going to be quite the costly endeavor, and not so pretty. That's probably the reason. I don't think it really was